Welcome back. How's everybody doing? I had to shift my placement on screen so Darla can have some of the spotlight. Darla's joining us again today, so say hello to Darla. My name is Jacqui Mancuso. If you guys aren't familiar with me, if this is your first time here, like I said, my name's Jacqui Mancuso. I'm joining you guys from Northern Illinois. Today we're here to talk about astrology, and then we're going to pull some oracle cards to see how to make the best use out of the available energy from the skies. She's showing off her cookies and cream. So she's a healer mix, like an Australian cattle dog, blue healer mix. Oh, and she's done. So that's where that cookies and cream color comes from. She's on the floor now. I guess I can take over. Let's see who's here. Jackie says, greetings, lovely peeps. Hello, Kelly. Good morning, Patty. Lynn, welcome. Nice to see you, Lynn. Karen A, good morning, Jackie and friends. Christine, good morning, Jackie and lovely tribe. Oh, you guys love Dars. What is that, Bonnie? I can't see what that second emoji is. It's like blending into the background too much. Yeah, she's out of here. Too much energy going her way. I don't know. She's cool. She's great. Aloha, Carrie. First time here. Welcome. Good morning, Jennifer. Yeah, this is a cool little tribe that we have here. That's what I'll say. I don't know. It's just fun. It's fun. We just have fun. We share. We talk about what's going on, how it relates to everyone and whatnot. So if you guys were with us on Monday, we all kind of shared how a lot of us had, what's a good word to call it? I want to say bipolar, but like that word has been way overused by society, but like that's what the weekend was like for a lot of us. We had one awesome day and one not so awesome day. So, Kelly, if you want to start that trend in the chat, go for it. I don't think I'm going to read them all, but yeah, do as you please in the chat. In alignment with what we're doing for the highest and greatest good of all. But so this weekend, it seemed to have a lot of energy, like really positive on one day and really down in the dumps the next day. So on Monday, we talked about how the sun was squaring Jupiter. And that tension is, I didn't really even mention it on Monday, but so we're working with Leo and Taurus energy, and that energy is extending to today with two other planets that are squaring, but this square between Taurus and Leo, squares already create tension. Taurus and Leo are both fixed signs, so the energy of the sign both just wants to dig their heels in the ground and stay stable and not change, so that can create more tension. So if you want to re-listen to Monday's talk about Jupiter square the sun, it's up on my YouTube channel. You could just search my name on YouTube and find me there. Or my link tree is in my Insight Timer bio, so you can find it there. However, today we now have Venus in Leo squaring Uranus in Taurus. So we'll talk about that square aspect. And then we have a nice trine between Mercury and Jupiter. So we'll talk about all that. So this tension between Leo and Taurus is still there. Venus in Leo is squaring Uranus and Taurus. So with Monday having the sun square Jupiter, it felt like our ego was squaring off with our expansion of resources. So like I shared my personal story, I guess. I was down in the dumps and like my ego wanted to do. It wanted to accomplish things on Sunday. But Jupiter was expanding my resource of thought, my skill of mental processing. So the universe stopped me in my tracks and made me literally think through my life. I digress. Today we have Venus in Leo, square Uranus in Taurus. This can feel like tension between getting clear on what we want and utilizing our resources in new ways. So Venus represents our desires. She's currently retrograde in the sky, so she's asking us to review our desires in the sign of Leo, which rules the heart. So Venus retrograde in Leo is asking us to review our heart's true desires. A lot of heart energy. Venus is already heart energy. In Leo, heart energy, and then reviewing, right? So we're like going into the heart instead of outpouring from. This is the time of going into. 90 degrees away, kinking this energy, is Uranus in Taurus. So Uranus is the energy of the unexpected, wow, shocking, wouldn't have thought. Like, that's Uranus. It's this very just like boop, and then everything's different. In Taurus, which has to do with our resources and our values. So this energy of the square, you might have felt it yesterday. You may be feeling it today. You might feel it tomorrow or throughout the next few days. But this energy of Venus square Uranus, especially Venus retrograde, you might find yourself like, wow, I didn't realize that that's what I wanted. Or like, wow, I really don't want that anymore. I've wanted that for a long time and now I don't want that anymore. This is a time of revisiting our heart's desires. Also, that the nodes of the moon are now in Aries and Libra. I've talked about this a little bit in the past, but the nodes of the moon just shifted less than a month ago. So we still have this fresh new energy of our like North Star is in a different place. So are you creating a life that you truly want, that your heart and your soul truly wants? Or are you creating a life for someone else based off of someone else in your life, or because someone else told you that this is the desire that you're supposed to have, you know? Do I want to talk more about that? I'll just talk about it really quick. So the nodes of the moon, if you're new here or if you forgot what I'm talking about, the nodes of the moon are always 180 degrees apart and they move backwards through the sky. They represent, the north node represents where we need to go in order to reach our highest destiny. We can use the north node like the collective North Star. So if you are looking to make a decision and you don't know what the best way to go is, check where the north node is right now, or where the north node is in your chart. And that's usually like a good guiding light, like a good trajectory to set your path on. The south node on the opposite side is what we are comfortable with, that we have, excuse me, that we've outgrown, that we're ready to release. So about a month ago, the nodes moved into North Node in Aries, South Node in Libra. Collectively, we all need, right? We all need to move towards our individuality. Aries is the sign of the warrior, the sign of self. Aries has a really good idea of, this is who I am, period. There's no buts. This is who I am, and that's it. So that's the energy that we're moving towards, that everyone on Earth right now is feeling this North Node in Aries. So there's going to be a stronger need for independence. South Node in Libra, for the whole Earth right now, is pulling us out of unhealthy people-pleasing. Libra is the sign of relationships. It's the sign of balance. So typically, the North Node is amplifying more of the positive expression of the sign because that's what you're trying to reach for. That's the goal that you're going for. The South Node usually amplifies the shadow side of the sign because it is what is no longer serving you about that sign that you're ready to let go of. So South Node in Libra energy, and this is going to be around until I think it's like January of 2025. So about a year and a half of this Aries and Libra balance. So South Node in Libra is like letting go of people pleasing, letting go of losing yourself in a relationship, letting go of doing things to keep the scales balanced. Like you don't want to rock the boat by speaking up for yourself. That's done. That's over with. We're letting that go behind. So with this, you know, there's so much that always goes on in the sky. And when I come on Insight Timer, I try to just laser focus on one thing. But today feels like I have to explain a lot because they always play, all the aspects play on each other. So we were talking about Venus squaring Uranus. Venus retrograde, we're already in a place of reviewing our heart's desires, and especially reviewing our heart's desire as the North Node is in Aries. And it's a really good time to review, like, is this actually what I want? We're going to pull some cards with that question today, so I'm really curious to see what comes out from that. But, like, I've had to ask myself that a lot. Is this what I want, or is this what I'm creating because this is what my husband's dream is, or this is what my family's dream is? This is what the dream of my upbringing was. You know, even like, am I fighting for something that younger Jacqui wants that I've already like satiated the need for in other ways? So do I really need to keep fighting for this desire? If that makes sense, let me know if that resonates with you. So we have all that going on. And then we also have a positive, harmonious trine between Mercury and Jupiter. Mercury is in Virgo, so our thoughts are in this mutable earth sign. Mercury is trining Jupiter in Taurus. So after Jupiter had the larger impact on that square from the weekend, asking us to expand our resources in some way, now he's playing nice with Mercury in Virgo. So our thoughts, Mercury, about changing up the physical, Virgo, mutable earth, are being expanded by Jupiter at this time. So like Jupiter is showing us that like, here are your resources. I'm going to make them big. I'm going to let you know what skills you have. I'm going to let you know what values are really important to you. And now you can start to think about how to change up the physical. So, I talked about this on Monday. If you guys want to hear the full story, you can watch the replay on YouTube. But so on Sunday, I went deep into a really low headspace, and I haven't been there in a really long time. And I was like revisiting thoughts and beliefs from childhood, you know, like traumatic things that stuck belief systems with me and whatever. However, Jupiter expanding in Taurus, our resources, is moving through my third house of thoughts and ideas. So Jupiter was expanding some of my beliefs, third house beliefs, that are old and they don't serve me anymore. And they got me to where I am now and I don't need them anymore. Now Mercury is trining, Mercury's helping out to help us clean up the mess of whatever may have been unlocked over the weekend, whatever things might have been brought to light over the weekend. So for all of us, I feel like Mercury is here asking us to ask, like, what thought or belief can we change to clean up the cobwebs? Like, what is the belief that we are hanging on to that's keeping us held back? That's, you know, holding us back. I don't know. We'll pull some cards on that and see. And this is also, so Mercury trine Jupiter. When planets are trine, They are 120 degrees away. It's a harmonious aspect. It feels good. It flows nicely. It makes a nice equilateral triangle. And it's like the planets are giving each other a high five or a thumbs up across the sky. They're like, I got your back. You're in a really good place. That's a good angle. I can see you from a nice angle here. Like, you look good. Let me help you. So that's what's going on with Mercury in Virgo, changing our thoughts. Jupiter in Taurus, expanding our resources. They're helping each other out. Mercury is also really quick. It's really close to Mars right now. They're only 4 degrees apart, so they're conjunct, not exactly, but their energies are amplifying each other. And Mars is the planet of action and energy and doing and moving and going. So Mars is amplifying our energy right now to be able to do something to change our thoughts. A lot of mutable energy with that Virgo part. And I also wanted to share a personal example that happened yesterday that I wasn't even looking for until I started making my notes about today, and then it made sense. With all this Virgo energy. So Virgo is mutable Earth. Mercury and Mars are in Virgo, so I'm talking about Virgo. Virgo is mutable Earth, so it's literally changing up the physical. What is the physical? It's our entire reality, the physical reality, right? What's actually happening in front of our eyes. So, quick little anecdote. Yesterday morning, I was journaling. It's a new practice I've been doing, and I really like it. I'm going to keep it around. So I was journaling about how much I want to travel. And I started listing like where I want to go and what I want to do when I get there. And I was very much like just asking the universe, like, please help me do this. This is something I've wanted to do for a long time. This is where I want to go. This is what I want to experience. I need some help. Like, show me the way. Make this happen for me. This is the first time, probably, I don't know, ever, maybe in a really long time, that I've actually written it down in a concrete, tangible way, where I've gotten clear on like, this is what I want. I want to go here and do this. I want to go here and do this. So whatever, I wrote it in the journal, and then I just poof, and I let it go. And then I have a coach that I follow. Her name's Taylor Eaton. She's a money mindset coach. She used to do human design stuff, but she's pulling away from that, whatever. But she posted a video on her YouTube channel specifically asking, what are you waiting for money to do? Like, what in your life are you waiting on for money to show up in order to do or to feel? So I was thinking travel. Like, there's retreats that I want to go on that are thousands of dollars that I just don't have to spend right now. So I commented on the video and I told her, like, this is it. Like, I'm waiting for the money to go travel the world. But then I started reflecting, and it's probably from something she said in the video. I'm making an intention to travel locally. Like, next week, I have days that I took off for myself, which has been a while. Taylor Eaton is her name. And so next week I have these plans to do like little day trips around my area because I took 3 days that are just for me. So then I was like, all right, like I am traveling. I'm going to be traveling around this area. And I commented that, and she's like, that's awesome. Tune into why you want to travel. Like, if this is what you want, cool. Why do you want that? And I don't think I've ever had that thought process before. So I spent a good part of the day thinking about, like, why do I want to travel? What do I want to get out of it? And it was like making me excited to get more detailed about why I want what I want. And then, lo and behold, thank you, Christine. Lo and behold, my husband comes home from work. Mind you, my husband is like anti-vacation. He has such a fear of leaving his home and like daily whatever. And he brought up, hey, do you want to take this little 3-day trip? Like, let's go to Indiana Beach or whatever. And I was like, just from me reflecting on why I want what I want and allowing myself to like get excited about the why, universe dropped that in my life. I didn't ask him for it that day. You know, I brought it up in the past. Like, he knows I want to go on vacations and do things, and this is probably the first time that he was like, hey, do you want to go take a trip that's like a vacation? So that's another, yeah, that's that. I tell these stories in an effort to give you guys like a personal example about how the planets are impacting me, that I'm making the connection to try to help you make connections to how the planets are impacting you, or around the same energetic lines, I guess. But I have 2 decks today, and I want to ask the first deck, so we still have that, we have that square between Venus and Uranus reflecting on our desires, and then maybe having like a, whoa, that's what I want. So what are Venus and Uranus trying to communicate about our desires? And we are going to use Ask Your Guides to ask those questions. Thanks, Kelly. Love when you share your experiences. Awesome. Sharon, thanks for sharing. Your story resonates. Awesome. Glad to hear. That's one of those things from following Taylor Eaton. You know, like, she has a lot of really good human design stuff out there. And from following her and doing things, I've learned that, like, she calls it solitude to story. That's like one of my superpowers. So I'm still trying to get comfortable with using it. So, yeah, having my experiences, digesting them, and then sharing them through storytelling. So thanks for the affirmation. Azizi, how do you find your human design? So the website that I like to use is called mybodygraph.com. I can't put the website because it won't put the link in the chat, but it's called mybodygraph.com. And you need the same information as you do your natal chart, your astrology chart. So your date of birth, time of birth, and location of birth. And then that'll give you a whole bunch of information, and you just got to start researching. Like, it's so dense and it's so intense. What you're meant to find is what you'll find, and all that. So we're using Ask Your Guides to ask what Venus and Uranus are trying to communicate to us about our desires. How are these planets helping us get clear on what we want? So please send your energy into this deck, asking for your highest guides to bring messages in alignment with your highest good and your highest desires, right? We're getting clear on our desires today. If this is your first time with me, just know that I do group readings, but they are always, always, always for all of us. We have some really good energy in this group. So I'm going to let 3 cards fall out of the deck for us. And then I'll show you the backs of the cards. Good morning, Jackie. So you will see the same image 3 times. I'm literally going to show you the back of the deck after the cards fall out. And I just ask that you you just get mindful about your body, mindful about your environment. Our guides speak to us, our higher self speaks to us through making really, really small changes sometimes. So if you're waiting for this big, grand, like, oh my gosh, the picture fell off the wall, like, those things, in my experience, don't happen all the time. The more you want those things to happen, the less they happen. But when you look at, like, the subtle changes, so if I hold up a card and then, like, your cat jumps on your lap, you know, things that are random occurrences that happen all the time, but they're happening at the exact moment of me holding up a card, you know, like, life is magic. You get to choose if you want to be a Scrooge or if you want to be a magical fairy. So, yeah, I just look for those little things. If an itch appears on my body when, you know, I hold up a certain card, or if you get a ringing in your ears. And actually, now that I say that, that's something that has been more and more common for me now that I've been practicing this type of stuff. It's just interesting. It wasn't ever one of those things like, oh man, I really want that ringing in my ears. But, like, that's the thing that happens to me a lot. And I'm still trying to figure out what it means. A lot of times it'll happen at random times. And I'm like, what am I listening for? What is it? Oh. Yeah, and like everything else, we create our own reality, you know? So if a bird starts singing when I'm holding up a certain card, so that doesn't mean that that's your only card. It might be, you know, like listen to your intuition. But if nothing changes, if you feel the same with all three cards, that is A-okay. That just means that the whole reading holds equal importance for you. So I'm going to show you the backs of the cards, and then let us know in the chat which cards are resonating with you guys. And if there's numbers between 2 and 3 just in your mind right now, that could also be your claircognizance coming online. Interesting, Bonnie. You know, maybe now that I'm more public, Bonnie says, my mom and grandma always said, ringing in the ears means someone is talking about you. So yeah, maybe now that my face is all over the internet, people are talking about me more often, and that could be it. It's not necessarily what I want, but... All right, here's the back of card number 1. The back of card number 2. And the back of card number 3. Let us know in the chat which card or cards are resonating with you. Good morning, June. We're asking what Venus and Uranus are trying to communicate to us about our desires. Again, just in case, the back of card number 1. The back of card number 2. And the back of card number 3. And let's see which cards you guys are working with. Jackie says 2 and 3 keeps coming up for me. Interesting. Patty, 2. Azizi, 2. Lori, 1. Karen, 2. Bonnie, 2 and 3. Elisa, you completely froze on 3. Maybe sit with that. That's, I don't know. Kelly, 1 and 2. Wellmode, 1 and 2. Christine, 1. Carrie, 1. Jennifer, 3. Debbie, 2. Susan, 1 and 3. Brenda, 1 and 3. Jonna, 1 and 3. Carrie, 1 is greater than 3? Or 1, 2, 3? Debbie, good morning. Lynn, the wind was increasing on 3. Walking, picking blueberries. Aw, that sounds awesome, Lynn. Yeah, winds of change. That's my go-to. Yeah. What does that mean to you? 1 leading to 3. Cool, Carrie. I like that. All right. What are Venus and Uranus trying to communicate about our desires? Card number 1 is card number 26. It's invention from our creativity guides. The keywords for this card are adaptation, adjustment, transformation, challenge. Sometimes life gives you lemons, but not to worry, your creativity guides are on hand, helping you transform your lemons into lemonade. No matter who you are or what circumstances you've inherited, life is always a blend of both the positive and the negative. Your creativity guides urge you to be grateful for the pluses of your life and to be creative with the negatives. They'll help you use your inventiveness to transform any adverse situation into one for the better. So rather than dwell on your lousy childhood, true though it may have been, appreciate the courage it developed in you and use it to change the unsupportive past into a self-reliant present. Rather than endure an unfulfilling job, be resourceful and start the business you've dreamed of for years. This is not to deny the pain in your life, but to use it as an incentive to move to higher ground. Allow your creativity guides to serve you. They're not afraid of the lemons you encounter in life. Gather their juice as fuel to invent much better circumstances, and ask them for inspiration and ideas. They have plenty to share. Their message, When you get lemons, make lemonade. Azizi, this is Ask Your Guides. So we asked, what are Venus and Uranus trying to communicate to us about our desires? Cool. Whatever you desire, you have the fuel to make it. That's what I'm getting from this card. And this is something that I learned from a different coach ringing in my ears. When you ask, she says your angels, because she's an angel coach. When you ask your angels, your guides, source, for a positive outcome, in order to get to that positive outcome, you will most likely be given fuel. It's your job. So you're asking for the light, you're usually given dark. You're usually given fuel. So like this, if you want, where does this talk about it? About if you want to be self-reliant, like that's your goal, I want to be self-reliant, you're going to be given a lot of opportunities where you are unsupported. You're going to be given fuel. It's your job with free will as this human being to learn how to use the fuel. Darla likes that message. Does that make sense? So what are Venus and Uranus trying to communicate about your desires? Uranus and Taurus right now is asking us to get creative with our resources. Anger can be a resource. Being pissed off can be a resource. Being sad, being depressed, feeling helpless, being a victim. Use those things as resources in an offbeat Uranus, what the F way. Does that resonate? Let me know what fuel is in your life right now that you're going to use to transform into something else. Instead of staying in it, instead of staying in the shadow, in the sadness, in the anger, what are you going to do with that? How are you going to use that to invent and create the life of your desires? Beautiful, Fabiana. Resonates. Card number 2 today. What are Venus and Uranus trying to communicate about our desires? Venus retrograde. We're reviewing our desires. This is card number 41, Bravado, from the Warrior Guides. The key words for this card are rebellion, liberation, courage, and resistance. Does everything inside you rebel against authority, making you want to scream, "You can't control me"? If so, it's true. No one can control you unless you agree to it. The fact that you don't allow others to control you anymore is a sign of progress. It means you are moving away from a world of dependency and claiming your personal authority as a self-directed, conscious soul ready to take responsibility for yourself. Challenging the authority figures in your life is a necessary step for your growth. However, you must realize that not everyone or everything in your path is necessarily working against you. Ask your warrior guides for the courage to challenge what oppresses you and for the wisdom to know when to respect authority. Your warrior guide's message: stand up for what's important to you and ask for it. However, don't fight for its own sake. Respect the leadership and rights of others as well. Yeah, Aries North Node with this card as well. Yeah, so what are Venus and Uranus trying to communicate about our desires? Maybe this is saying like you need to not fight for your desires, because I don't like that the way that sounds, but maybe that's it. Maybe you need to fight for your desires. Maybe you need to stand up to someone in your life who has been telling you this is what you want. This is what you need to do. This is the path that you need to follow. Oh, I don't resonate with that because my parents were very detached. They never told me what to do. They tried and I didn't listen, so they stopped trying. I'm also the baby of 10, so I think they had less parenting excitement when I came around. But yeah, Venus and Uranus want you to figure out what your desires are and start standing up for them. Start challenging people who tell you that you're supposed to be doing something out of alignment with what you want. Lynn says, I'm going to use anger as a tool, and I feel like this card is for you as well, Lynn. I know you're talking about card number 1 with that. Azizi, this 100% resonates. Finally trusting my intuition rather than always asking others for advice. I love it. I love it. And just know that there can be a balance with that as well. It could be a balance. You don't always have to ask others their opinion. You don't always have to do it 100% yourself. You can have some ideas and toss them off of people, or ask for opinions and then toy around with them yourself. It's okay to have that balance. But, yeah. Bonnie, I was typing basically what this card says when you asked what's going on with you. So never mind, this card is what's going on. Oh, I love that. I love that. And this resonates a lot with what I was saying a little bit earlier. Are you creating the life that you desire? Or are you creating the life that you were told you're supposed to create? Or are you creating the life for someone else's desires? Christine, oh, I love the tulips on the first one. We are headed to the Netherlands, the tulip capital. I love that. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And from this deck, we have one more card, and then I have another deck where we're going to pull we're going to ask a different question. But what are Venus and Uranus trying to communicate about your desires? Card number 3 today is card number 30, and the message is death. From your guardian angels. The keywords for this card are devastation, surrender, defeat, humiliation. As hard as this may be to admit, it's time to give up on your present efforts and walk away from a situation that has no more life in it. Whether it's a dead-end job, a relationship that has run its course, or a pattern of behavior in you that's no longer getting you what you want. Recognize what isn't working anymore. There are times in life when things or circumstances come to a natural end. This is one of those times. Your guardian angels are surrounding you as the reality of this dead-end situation settles in. They comfort you at a time when it appears as though all is lost. Although you're not experiencing a physical death, your angels indicate that something has indeed died. That which has been harming your spirit. The good news is that the worst has already occurred. It will not get any worse than this, and soon a new day will dawn. As hard as it can be to admit, accept the defeat or the dead end, because the sooner you do, the sooner the real gifts you seek will appear from the right resources. This is not an easy time for you, but it will become easier if you let go. Your guardian angel's message, let go and let God take over and move on. This feels heavy, but like not in a too much to carry way. This feels big. Like this message feels like I can feel it resonating throughout the whole group here. I know that there's something that all of us are ready to let go of. And actually that's exactly what we're going to be asking the next deck about, which is really cool. But this is the energy of allowing things to come to their natural end. The more you try to hang on to things that are no longer serving, it's like you're putting off the blessing. It's like you're putting off the new beginning. I'm trying to relate this to things like have you ever had a houseplant that died and you just like leave it in the pot for a year? Maybe it'll come back to life, and really all you're doing is wasting a pot that you could have used to plant a new seed to grow something different, you know? Like last year I started growing vegetables for the first time, and I tried to save my tomatoes and peppers. I brought them inside just to see if they would live throughout the winter, like just to try, and they didn't. And it took me until like July to get them out of the pots. Like I just left them there. But now that they're out, I planted new things and I have new tomatoes growing, you know? So like you have to let go of the stuff in order for the new stuff to come in. And it can be difficult to let go if you're attached to it. So there's where the energy of detachment comes from. I am not my thoughts. The easier it is to make that disconnection that you are not your thoughts, it's easier to let go of thoughts that may have served you in the past. They may have had life and they may have brought you somewhere awesome in the past, but like you've grown, you've evolved, you've expanded. They don't have the same gumption as they used to. I shared, yeah, you guys have been around. You know that a little less than a month ago, I lost my Aunt Jeannie, who had been the most badass AIDS survivor ever over 3 decades. Super positive spirit. She left, you know, and that was like, okay, I get it. It's time to close it up and whatever. And then on Sunday, when my dog killed a rabbit, things were coming up, and then like that came up again, and I was like, why am I losing everything right now? Why is everything dying? What else is gonna die? And I felt that like, I don't even know the word. I felt that like, ugh, I can't even put it into words. But even in that moment, it was so clear. It's because like the path is clearing out. The cobwebs are clearing out. That stuff served a purpose in your life, and it's just time to move on. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Melissa, the life I created suited me fine for so long, but recently been feeling trapped by it. Yeah, cool. That's a great place to be, because your feelings are telling you it's time to expand, you know? Like the baby chick feels trapped by the egg, so what does it do? It breaks through the egg and it starts a whole new life. Blessings, Rochelle. And Melissa knows that this card, oh, that's interesting. You must have been saying that about card number 2. That's so cool. Jessica, thank you. I do have one more deck to get to, so I'm going to read some comments and then we'll pull a culminating card. Angie, both of these cards resonate. I'm having a thing because I feel like someone is treating me unfairly. I'm not just upset for me, but also for others they have done it to before and will do it to after. I feel like I have to stand up to ensure it does not continue. I'm trying to resolve peacefully, but also I'm not letting it go and trying to be okay with my own rebelliousness in my fight for fairness. Sounds like a loaded situation. I invite you to take care of your needs and trust that the universe will even out the rest. Trust that the universe will take care of everybody else, because it's not our job to take care of everybody. That can feel so selfish the first few times you hear it, but it's also so freeing to know that like everyone else is everyone's responsible for themselves, you know. You'll be good, Angie. Well mode. Well, was this energy last week also already around? Last week my low self-esteem died and I stood up for myself and all went well. This energy, the North Node in Aries came about within the last month, so that could be what you've been tapping into. That could be how planets were just interacting with your personal natal chart. If you felt the energy, cool, you used it. Thumbs up. It resonates with Nick. Jessica, definitely the card for me. Wow. Fabiana, I felt this energy of let go, control, and surrender recently. Sometimes not easy to deal with it. I feel that. Yep. I'm learning to let go of control all over the place. Have you celebrated the ways that you have let go of control, though? Jana, so true. Everything has a season. It's time to allow for the change. Jacqui, this is the second time I've heard this week. I am not my thoughts. Replace body with thought. I have a body. This is my body. I am not my body. 100% Jacqui. Yep. This is the vessel that I was given for this incarnation, so I choose to honor it the best I can. Same with my thoughts. These are the tools that I've been given in this incarnation. I choose to honor them the best I can. Christine, our smoke alarms went off just as you were beginning to read card 3. I missed it, but I'm thinking I need to listen when you post on YouTube. Must be a message for me, and there's no smoke anywhere, by the way. Interesting. So what that tells me, Christine, is that something alarming is catching your attention instead of allowing you to sit with the death of something. Just gonna leave that there. Carrie, considering 1 leading to 3, feeling the inspiration and creativity are flowing back to me in full productivity mode, and to consider this bridge if productive creativity can lead to a transformation in new circumstances and vision for me, for all that energy focused on my purpose. Yeah, I like that. 1 leading to 3. So I'll just review these cards, and then we're going to ask Mercury for some advice with a different deck. So card number 1 is invention. It's using the nasty stuff in your life to create beautiful stuff. This is the card of alchemy. This is the card of transformation. This is turning lemons into lemonade. That lemonade might look like bravado, standing up for yourself, being a warrior for yourself, putting your foot down and saying, this is what I want. And you don't need to be aggressive about it. You don't need to, when I said earlier, I don't want to use that word fight. You don't need to fight for what you want. You don't need to be scrappy about it. You just need to, we're in Leo season. Think about quiet strength. Lion strength. Does the lion have to jump at you every time he needs something? No, all he has to do is stand there and show his stoic power and just be firm on quiet confidence. Melissa, thank you. Just be firm on what it is that you want. Aggression isn't needed. Just, no, this is what I'm doing. So it is. And maybe that will help you die off people-pleasing, right? Death of people-pleasing, following others' agendas, following the status quo just to be simple and easy and free, but you're not really free because you're literally following what other people are telling is best for you. Or this could be the dying off of victim mode, staying in the fuel. I just got an image of someone swimming in gasoline instead of putting the gasoline in the car to go. This could be the death of getting trapped in what you don't like, getting trapped in the unwanted emotions instead of asking yourself, how can I use the unwanted emotions to do something? So we are going to use the Animal Apothecary deck, and we are going to ask Mercury, because Mercury is trining Jupiter today. So our thoughts are receiving support from expanding our resources. Our thoughts in mutable Earth, Virgo, so changing our thoughts, are receiving support from Jupiter and Taurus, expanding the resources that we already have. So we're asking, what thought or belief can we change in order to clean up the cobwebs? That's what I had written down, and that makes sense with this death card. What thought or belief can we change in order to finish this process? So please feel free to send your energy into this deck, asking Mercury and Jupiter, what thought or belief can we change to clean up the cobwebs? If you've been enjoying today's session, if you'd like to offer an energy exchange in the form of a donation, they're always appreciated, never expected. If you'd like to work with me one-on-one, I do offer donation-based services. So I offer card readings, I offer astrology readings, I offer Akashic record readings if you guys want to dive into the records. If you don't know what that is, it might not be time right now. Just wait for more things to be uncovered. Or hop on my Linktree. It's in my Insight Timer bio. And just check it out and see. Check it out. Yeah, I do a lot of stuff. And it doesn't need to be like the menu style, like, ooh, I think I need Reiki today. Let's see Jacqui. It's more like, I just want to help people. So if you're feeling off and you're feeling weird, set up a time with me. We'll chat. We'll figure out what is best for you right now. And then we'll do it. And then it's all donation based because I just want to help people. And I just want to, heal the world is what came through. Interesting. So you can find my Linktree, that's like my website hub, in my Insight Timer bio. So click on my face on the bottom right hand corner, go to the About section, and then click on the website and you'll see that's there. You can follow my YouTube channel from there as well, or you can just search my name on YouTube. I post all of these replays to my YouTube channel, so you can revisit. I'm at a loss. Sorry. I'm thinking too much. I'm doing too much. What else? Yeah, if you want to support, it's not always about money. It's not always about, like, I don't know. There's lots of different ways to exchange energy, you know. Following me here on Insight Timer, following me on YouTube, those are all ways of supporting. Interacting with my social media posts, like, that's an energy exchange, you know. Think about energy in a multitude of ways. So we're asking, what thought or belief can we change in order to clean up the cobwebs? And when I wrote that question, I was specifically thinking about the cobwebs of this past weekend. So if anything happened this past weekend that you are just ready to, like, or even from like late last week, yeah, it's very timely cobwebs. Jana, Kelsey, and Rhonda, thank you ladies for your donations. I appreciate them. There we go. Thank you guys. I love this card. Wow. What thought or belief can we change to clean up the cobwebs? It's card number 33, and the message is Nourish the Shadow. And this comes from Jaguar. Jaguar represents the shadow, the subconscious aspects of ourselves we push away. Carl Jung says these aspects usually stem from situations we encountered as children that lead us to feel shame, unworthiness, and abandonment. We then live out these programmed beliefs as adults. Jaguar comes to speak to us about nourishing our shadow. In this image, we see her drinking from the well of wholeness. The well in this image, inspired by Jungian analyst Marion Woodman, is our place of nourishment and absolute wholeness. Water is where all life comes from. Without it, we have no vitality. Many of us ignore and starve our shadow aspects because they cause us so much pain. We push them away and deeply criticize them. We chain our jaguar shadow and confine her to the furthest part of the backyard of our minds. She howls and cries for nourishment, yet we still ignore her. In her banishment, because of the lack of love, her power grows as the master of self-sabotage. Ironically, if you would begin a relationship with her, you'd find that she is your greatest asset and leads to fulfilling your life's purpose. Funny that we instinctively banish her. Jaguar's medicine asks you to create a self-talk relationship with yourself and to ride the wave of hurt within. Every time a painful feeling arises, you must now tell yourself, I'm right here to feel this with you. I accept this uncomfortable feeling and I will ride it out with you. I am here to feel this with you. If you do this, the emotion will always detox out and dissipate, leading you to a much quicker healing. But you must be strong and endure the pain. Commit to riding the waves of emotion together within yourself. This is the nourishment your Jaguar shadow represents. If you witness her, she will start showing you a new and indestructible power within. Your shadow is where your diamond lives. What thought or belief can we change to clean up the cobwebs? The belief that there's something wrong with us. The thought that the shadow is bad. The thought that you're not supposed to get to know your anger, your pain, your unworthiness, your abandonment. When I was reading this card, I kept thinking about, because I used to be a teacher, I kept thinking about like the kids that sucked, the kids that were just little a-holes. The kids that acted out, you know, like had no respect or whatever for anything. Those were my favorite kids. Those were my favorite kids because I knew that they were just unhealed little babies who needed some love. So anyway, so I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about the kids who act out, and that is your shadow. And if you continue to get angry at it and you let it just ruin your day, ruin the whole class, like, man, it's that kid's problem. That's the kid that just, and every day I have the same thing. Like, this anger just speaks out and this unworthiness just speaks out, and like, that's what that's the life you're creating. Or if you sit down with that kid, with your own shadow, and you say, what's going on? Why did you think that that's okay to act like that? Why are you feeling like this? Tell me about your life. Who are you? Where did you come from? What's your home life like? You start to learn a lot that you wouldn't know if you kept pointing your finger at it and saying, that's the problem. And then this card also talked about chaining up the Jaguar outside in the backyard, and I was like, ooh yeah, definitely don't chain up a kid outside in the backyard. But that's the thing, you know, and if you've ever done something like that, if you've ever sat with an outcast of any kind, what do you usually learn from them? Just like homeless people too. I've never personally done it, but I've heard a lot of stories about people who just choose to talk to homeless people. Why are you here? What brought you here? You know, like, what's your situation? And a lot of times you find some really cool stories and it's not what you thought. It's the same. Everything is fractal, guys. Everything is everything. Everything's a metaphor for everything else. So do the same to your shadow. If you feel that unworthiness pop up, if you feel that abandonment show its face, if you feel that anger boiling inside you, sit down with it, detach yourself from it. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. Emotions appear on you for a short amount of time, and you have the ability to look at it in the mirror, ask it what it needs, give it a bowl of water. You know, and then like I've never had kids, but I would assume that like if your toddler, if it's not getting its needs met, it's gonna get louder and more obnoxious and more in your face, and it's gonna keep asking and blah blah. It's like our shadow, the inner child within yourself. If it needs something, it's gonna keep making itself seen. It's gonna be jumping in your face. Have you ever seen Big Daddy? Kangaroo song, kangaroo song, kangaroo song. Until you choose to sit with it. Wow. And then that just like brings it all full circle. You got to nourish the shadow, because the shadow is what is going to help you create as fuel. The shadow's trying to teach you something. It's not trying to make your life miserable. It's trying to give you a platform to jump off of so that you can stand up for yourself. and let go of things, beliefs that brought you to where you are today, say thank you and say, like, I don't need you anymore. Why don't you go help someone else who needs you right now? This feels amazing. Do you guys feel this? This makes so much sense. Yvonne, makes sense now why I missed all the cards except the reading of 3 and Nourish the Shadow card. I love it, Sharon. Kaya, I have that with my teen daughter so often. Jennifer, that's what I just thought of. I love it. Those teenage girls. Weren't we once teenage girls? Yvonne, I work with the homeless in a medical behavioral health clinic, and oh boy, some of the stories are like, wow. You can use this in any type of duality situation. Any time that you have an opinion that differs with someone else, you can chain up the shadow and say, they're wrong. That's not right. That's not my belief. I disagree with them. They're bad. They're making my life worse. Or you can throw that judgment out the window and just try to understand where they're coming from. Why do you think we should live life that way? Why do you hold that belief? Kaya, this brings up overwhelm for me. Why? What kind of overwhelm? Jonna, everyone needs love. So many kids and people. These cards, the cards have blended so majestically today. Yeah, Christine, we were just talking about that yesterday. So that was in the back of my mind. But yeah, I live by that all of the time. Christine, oh wow, I'm finally getting how all this connects to my upcoming trip we talked about. Thank you. Wow, yeah. Yeah, seeing the other person's side. It's a whole like, oh my gosh, I feel a tangent coming on and I have things afterwards, but we're gonna go with it. Shoot, I lost it. It's coming back. It's easier to accept others once you accept yourself, once you accept others. So it's like you chip away a little bit at accepting yourself, and then it chips away a little bit at accepting others, and then that chips a little bit away at accepting yourself. Does that make sense what I'm saying? Everything, so as within, so without. A personal, just quick thing. I noticed I used to be a completely different person, right? When I was a teenager, probably up until like 25, like whatever. The last like 7 years I've been morphing, but really up until 25, I was negative Nancy. I was judgmental. I was super hard on myself. I would never like make fun of people for being different, but I would always just notice. And I would notice that like they're doing something different than me and they're doing what I would say is wrong, whatever. So I had all this. And then once I started judging myself less, I noticed myself judging others less. And that led to less judging of myself. And it's like it's a whole thing, right? The world is a mirror. That came up. Was that Monday? The world is a mirror. So whatever emotion you put out to everyone else in the universe is what you're putting into yourself. So if you want to know, do I love myself? Ask yourself, do you unconditionally love everyone around you? If the answer is no, then what kind of work can you do? Because it's all possible. Melissa, this is helping me so much today. I appreciate you being here. Likewise, Melissa, thank you for being here. Patsy, you too. Christine, yes, the reflections. So the shadow, like, the more you understand your triggers instead of shaming your triggers, just noticing. It's all about noticing without judgment, you know? I used to lead a grounding meditation here all the time with Reiki transmissions, but if you guys were around for that, that used to be how I would talk about the body scan. Simply notice without placing judgment. I notice that my nose feels warm right now. And what is that telling me? It's easier said than done, right? And it's like a process, but I notice that I'm angry right now. What is that anger trying to tell me? I notice that I'm feeling left out right now. So like that's what was coming up for me this weekend, right? I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about this or whatever, but like when I was a kid, I used to get really, and this was a pattern. I used to get really excited about things, and then plans would get canceled at the last minute. Is that abandonment? Is that an abandonment wound? I don't know. But like the pattern kept coming and it kept coming and it kept coming. And then I don't know how I like got rid of it, or I shoved it down, or like maybe I healed a part of it because I got more used to it because I married a Sagittarius whose plans just change on the drop of a dime all the time. So like I did feel okay with that. But then when I was in a vulnerable state, that's what it was. When I was in a vulnerable state on Sunday, and I was upset because my dog killed a rabbit, and that was just, I was also PMSing, which I don't know how much I believe that, but that was like, oh, okay. But then like emotions and hormones and everything, and I was like in this really down place, and we were supposed to go to a demolition derby, which of course I'd be going to a demo derby. But the plans had to change because of things, and like it was fine. It wasn't anything. But then like that whole thing came up again, and I was like, whoa, I haven't felt this in a long time. And then I was like embarrassed that I was waiting for someone else to entertain me, and I couldn't just do what made me happy. It was a whole thing. I hope that this lets you guys know I'm also human. I'm not a happy robot all the time. This is fun, and it was fun. It was fun to go down there and find that. Patsy, while I judge others so much less than the past, I still don't know what to do when around people who are still so asleep or judgy. Thoughts? It's really hard. Jacqui says she feels the same. It's really difficult to be with people like that. Let me sit with that because I get where you're coming from. Because I get that. For me, like it had, but like, I want more of a concrete answer. It's all about like acceptance all over the place. Acceptance that you woke up when you did, and acceptance that they may or may not wake up when they are meant to wake up. Like there's more in there. It's, I mean, if everyone's a mirror, like why does it bother you that they are judgmental? Why does it bother you that they are still asleep? Is there a part of you that is afraid that you might still be asleep to something? Because I feel that, you know, like I went through a partial... that just slipped out of my face, too. I went through a partial awakening. I had a huge spiritual awakening in 2020. And, like, I know that there's more. But it's not just enjoyable, mostly. Well, you're always able to stand up for what you want. You know, like, if it's making you uncomfortable to be around those people, you have the opportunity to remove yourself from the situation. Lynn says, thank you. I feel so much lighter than 1 hour ago. Awesome, Lynn. Kelly, not judging people for judging. Jacqui, I'm not pointing fingers, people in my own family, but I try to know that they're in a different place than me. Sometimes I speak up, others no. I get that, Jacqui. Difficulty is in not wanting to perpetuate that line of conversation that it's gossipy or talking about others. It's just acceptance of the situation, because that happens in my reality also, and I choose not to engage. Or like when it feels right, I might like change the subject real quick, and if they choose to go in that direction, cool. If not, then it's up to me to choose what I do with myself and my energy in that situation. You can't change people. You see how sad I got when I said that? That was like hurting my inner child. You can't save everyone. You can't change anyone. But what you can do is lead by example. Because think about all the growth that you've made in your life. You had to look up to someone to say, like, I want that. They have that, I want that. I'm going to go get that. And then you go get that with your warrior guides, your bravado spirit. This was huge, and I want to keep talking, but I have to go. It was really nice to be with you guys today. I think next week I'm here on Tuesday. Just Tuesday next week, and we're going to talk about a few things going on, but the new moon in Leo is one of the things that we'll be talking about on Tuesday. So that is at 8:15 a.m. Central Time, same time as always. Also, never mind. We released a lot today in the session. Lots of people released a lot of things today, and I felt it. So, good for you. Good job. Sending love to all. Namaste. The light in me truly honors the light in you. The shadow in me truly honors the shadow in you. It's all one, and whatever. Thank you guys very much for your donations. They are much appreciated. Thank you, Melissa, Patsy, Carrie, Karen, thank you, Kaya, Fabiana, my whole body aches. It was so powerful. Thank you. Shake it out. Go move. Mercury and Mars are in Virgo. Go move. Go do something. Thank you, Jennifer. Love to all, Bonnie.